If you missed out on going to Blade Show in 2025 this year, we have got the list for you. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here.
Seth V.
From the Knife Center, and we have got our personal picks for the best knives from Blade Show 2025.
Well, David, we're back.
We
to
are.
Blade Show.
We are back.
A little less well-rested than usual, maybe.
Well, I've still got the two kids, so I'm very well rested. Yes, we're back. We're here, talking about what we saw. Also, sort of housekeeping note or something right up front. There were a handful of new DCA knives designs, DCA knife design things and news that happened at the show.
Some sweet prototypes unveiled, some stuff available now.
However, I've said before, whenever I'm rounding up like a top 10 list or XYZ, I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting my own stuff in there. So we're going to talk about that stuff at the end of the video. So stick around for that. And then in the meantime, we've got Seth and I each made 5 picks. So we'll see if we can make it to top 10 here.
Sweet.
Why don't you go first, Seth? Because I think you had an interesting and I think worthy observation to kick us off here.
Yeah. My takeaway from the show, if you can call it that, is just sort of a reading of vibes there. And I was picking up a bit more enthusiasm over fixed blades this year. A lot of the dedicated fixed blade brands seem to have consistent traffic at the booths, people showing up for the raffles and rushing to, in-demand brands right away. I just think fixed blades are back on people's lists. And I'm seeing a lot of new fixed blades to maybe rise to meet that demand. And
yeah, I agree. I think we're seeing a lot of a bump in fixed blade enthusiasm, but especially everyday carry fixed blades as well.
Yeah,
that was a notable subcurrent amidst the current of fixed blades.
I feel like people are finally beginning to realize that you can just put a fixed blade in your pocket, and it's not going to be the bulky, terrible experience. Maybe that it had been in the past with, the last generation of pocket sheaths and bulky sort of carrying systems.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
But what's your number 5 pick? We'll call it.
Well, I have here to represent my pick a Kizer
not fixed blade.
Yes, thoroughly folding knife. But Kizer has a new whole series of drop bear fixed blades. They're sort of like a survival series.
That's kind of what I've been referring to them as the drop bear survival knives. There were 3 sizes of them.
Yep, a 3, a 5, and a 7, I believe.
Yeah, and that didn't 100% correspond to their blade lengths. But yeah, it's like 3 notably different sizes. Great handles on them.
Yes, super comfortable. They were, each size I thought was pretty appropriate, for its proportions. Each one had a great sense of balance. The contouring on the handles was unbelievably well done.
Yeah, agreed.
The sizes were just perfect, like I said. I mean, the drop bear's always been good, and I think these fixed blade versions are going to show how good the platform can be in a configuration, i.e. a fixed blade, where you're actually going to be able to push way harder than you would with a folder.
Agreed. Yeah, they had some nice details on them too, like the bow drill divots were really nicely done for that being a survival knife series. That makes sense. And the diamond sharpeners on the sheaths, I hope those make it through to production because those were nice.
Little details, little thoughtful details. Honestly, Kizer had a whole new line of fixed blades that were all reconfigured versions of popular folders. So they had a bed glider fixed blade. They had a sheepdog fixed blade. There might have been one other, I'm forgetting now, but those all looked really well.
Ones, I think. Yeah, they were all quite good, I agree. Excellent pick for spot number 5. I think it was on my list of honorable mentions as well.
They were cool.
Very good. My number 5 pick was also a fixed blade, and it's amongst the stuff I have on here, it's probably actually like the one I'm most tickled by and the most, or that I find the most interesting. But it's probably going to be not nearly that same level of interest to the vast majority of people, so I couldn't justify putting it any higher than number 5. But that's the Boker Sailor's fixed blade knife.
Okay, I remember this one.
Yeah, it's a fairly plain looking thing. It's got a 5-inch blade, a round wood handle. But the reason I find it interesting is because it predates the original Cole Klesser Brothers Kephart knife, which is an iconic knife. There's only 3 of those known to be out there in the wild, to exist still
3
today.
original examples.
We're talking like early 1900s here. This pattern actually predates that, and it got the geometry of the Kolklesser version right. And to me, anyway, at least, this is very interesting because it's convex ground, but it's not a simple convex. It's convex towards the edge like you would expect, but it's also then convexed back towards the spine. So it's like a full flat mixed with a big swedge, but all Appleseed style.
All smooth together.
All smoothed over. It's really kind of difficult to do in a production environment. It's something that usually has to rely on a lot of hand time. So it's going to be interesting to see how this where this knife is priced when it comes out. But I found it super interesting. The handle was a lot rounder than the original KA-BAR. And if you want to know what the original KA-BAR feels like, the Boker BK62 was directly copied really off of Ethan Becker's Kolklesser KA-BAR. He has one of the 3. But even KA-BAR, they have a flat grind with a swedge as opposed to that convex geometry.
Sure.
But the handle on the Boker was wide enough. You definitely could have ground it down into the same shape as the KA-BAR. I don't know if you guys care about it or not. I thought it was super interesting.
It's cool. The fact that it predates the KA-BAR is interesting. Maybe it was a sort of a stepping stone there. Maybe it was a type of knife he'd seen before.
Yeah, even the blade shape was remarkably reminiscent of what the KA-BAR knife became.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
Cool little piece of knife history recreated.
Yeah.
For today.
And that's why I think it has stuck with me. Plus, I'm friends with Ethan Becker. I'm collaborating with Ethan Becker. This has been said, but we haven't shouted about it too much. So I had reasons to really enjoy what was going on there.
Yeah, it was cool.
Next pick for you, sir.
Oh, right. Let's get to some folders.
Yeah, we won't make you sit through more fixed blades yet.
This is one of the original Penguins, or if not the original, since this is a frame lock, it represents the original Penguin.
It's the original shape.
The success of the original Penguin. It's been a bestseller. It's been a popular knife for our customers, for people here at the office. The Penguin's been a hit. And QSP is coming out with, very soon, a crossbar-powered version of the Penguin. It's got their Glyde lock on there.
Yep.
And a little tweaks, just tiny little tweaks to the blade shape that I think make it even more elegant and have me excited all over again for the humble Penguin.
Importantly for some, I think they were trying to get the blade length down to, instead of being just over 3 inches, to actually hit that 3-inch mark. So some folks will certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, hopefully that'll allow folks who didn't get a chance to try the original Penguin to check one out. It's sweet. Their Glyde lock is an excellent version of the crossbar lock. It's got a very crisp, almost detent-like release. It has kind of like
it's got like covers on it, yeah. So it's like an oval that you slide more than just a stud.
Yeah, real easy to use, works great. They're going to have injection molded handle scales to keep the price down, and I think it's going to be like around $50.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. I think they were shooting for even under, but we'll see where it comes out.
Yeah.
But they won Best Buy of the Year, the Blade Show Awards for the injection molded version of it. Yeah, congrats indeed.
It's sweet. It's an iterative change. It's the same knife, but I think it's going to be really popular.
Yeah, I
it's
think
just
so
that
too.
much better, and it's not any more expensive.
There's no reason it's worse than what the current versions are. And I like the ambidextrous use and the finger safe closing of a crossbar lock all the time. So.
Some people are definitely going to still prefer the frame and the liner locks because of personal preference.
And price too. Like they're still going to be less expensive.
That's true.
That's a great series.
But yeah, it's sweet. It's going to be good. I just think it's such an easy win. That's why it's on my list.
Yeah. Great. My number 4 is from CIVIVI. It's another fixed blade. It was the new Kyle Lamb design we saw.
This one was interesting.
Super interesting. Yeah. The Modern Hunter. I would have never guessed it was intended to be a hunting knife by the look at it, because it's got the tactical handle from his Soken design.
Almost with like a hook for kind of a reverse grip or invert grip.
It's got almost that like little machete-like tab that sticks out, but you see that a lot in tactical knives because it works really well in an inverted grip when you're holding the blade down with your thumb capped on the top there. But it had a long, I don't have the full specs because we didn't go over that at the show. It's still kind of upcoming, but about a 4-inch blade, very narrow, with a hybrid grind. It was flat ground with a hollow above it. So in a way, it's almost like an S grind that you might see on some custom kitchen knives. it creates almost a big wide fuller in a way. So you get the strength of the flat grind at the edge, and potentially
Then you have these sort of like voids.
Yeah, which you may or may not get some release from that void.
Yeah.
But it's there, and I thought it was super cool. And even if it didn't have that grind, it would be on my list here because it was nimble, it was quick. That long narrow blade really appealed to me on that platform because you could use it for pretty much anything. Like it's utilitarian.
Yeah. Paring knife, kind of burden trout.
You can make it a paring knife. You could hunt with it. It could be a tactical self-defense thing. It could be a box cutter, a box opener. It was very cool, I thought. Really excited when those are going to come out.
Yeah, a grind like that is cool to see from CIVIVI. I do think it makes a difference in cutting. If it's going to behave anything like an S grind on a kitchen knife, it's going to cut noticeably different through specific types of things.
Right.
Like stuff that tends to stick to the edge, like cheeses or, I don't know, gluey kind of fragile cardboard that sort of folds over and
I'm
sticks.
going to be interested to see how it cuts through cardboard, actually. I think that could be very enlightening.
I think
it could be.
It gives it some advantages.
Yeah. That was a really neat knife.
Agreed.
Your number 3, sir.
Okay, my number 3. I guess I was really into the budget side of things this year because I was super excited to see that Jack Wolf is launching an entire budget line of knives. So this is the Little Bro Jack, I believe. This is not a budget knife. This is the full Jack Wolf experience with the exotic carbon fiber, the full titanium, the screw together construction, the S90V steel. Yeah. We've talked about them before, and that's what they do.
High quality, but it comes with a price.
Yes. These new Gateway slip joints.
Which the Gateway is going to be sort of like the subline. It's going to have various models within it.
Right.
Yeah.
They're launching with a knife that looks a lot like this. It's just it's a little bigger. It's a Barlow. It's going to be $70 street price.
Right.
And it has...
They're using more like classic vintage covers. Not even necessarily that, but...
They're not using like internationally sourced cover materials, handle materials. Like they're keeping it local with the OEM, which is the same OEM that actually makes these knives. So the quality up there is phenomenal. They've just changed a bit of the steps in manufacturing to aggressively lower that price. So instead of having screw together construction, it's pinned. And instead of S90V steel, it's 14C28N.
The blue bone was nice. They do the abalone. There's going to be a bunch of different stuff. Like they're not going to be, Jack Wolf has always done like a lot of variety and eye-catching things, and they're still going to do that, but it's not going to be as, exotic or like expensive premium type of stuff.
And they feel exceptionally well made. Everything is flush in every position. Everything's well polished. Everything's symmetrical. Like there are no flaws on these knives at any price, but they're not quite as refined as this. But the fact that I'm even sort of straining as I say quite, I think should tell you
they're really
how good they are and what a good value that means that they're going to be $70 instead of, $300.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's going to be sweet.
These were also on my short list. I had 2 honorable mentions listed down here. The other was the Drop Bear, and it was this. But I knew you were going to put it on the list anyway. So
Yeah.
I knew you were going to.
It was a great surprise.
My number 3, you also have on your list. So we're just going to say it's your number 3 too. Or your number 3 as well, I should say. The Redemption Compact.
Yeah.
From CRKT and Ken Onion. This is what I wanted when the first Redemption came out.
Exactly.
And then
I was about to say the same thing.
You tell us about it here, Seth. Awesome knife.
The Redemption, it's a kind of a gambler's knife. If it was a fixed blade, I'd be tempted to call it a boot knife. But Ken Onion's design, the original Redemption, was so sweet, such a crazy good value for an American-made
4-inch MagnaCut blade.
Big old thing.
It was like $225 to start. It's bumped up. It's like $250 now, which is still not bad. Made by Hogue.
Yep. And it's just so quintessentially cool. This is the stiletto, the gambler's knife. It's like straight out of a movie.
You're not taking a gamble by getting the knife. It's the card shark's knife. Let's go with that.
It's the story of the gambler, not
there you go.
a gamble on the knife. Yeah.
But it's despite compact, this is still not a mini.
No, it's like what, like
It's like 3 and a quarter or
Okay.
thereabouts. The reason I didn't personally buy one of the 4-inch versions, even though it was great, was because the handle itself got to be so long. The way I close crossbar locks is I usually anchor with my pinky or ring finger on the clip right there, so that I can then manipulate the crossbar. And it was a stretch.
So long you were kind of...
Yeah. And, and there's no, and it's this, it was actually even more noticeable on the open because there's no thumb studs to get to. So you have to have a hold on the knife,
right.
pull the crossbar back, and then swing it out. And I never felt quite as anchored as I'm used to feeling with my back fingers back there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's totally a fair observation to make, because when I first handled the Redemption, I was like, this is amazing, this is so cool. And secretly, I want a smaller one.
Yeah.
And then
lo and behold,
here it is.
And they got blackout versions too, of both the compact and the full size joining the lineup. And one of the highlights of the show was we got to interview Ken Onion. And I say interview because we filmed it on camera, but before and after the camera was rolling, it was just a continuation of the same conversation that we had on camera, really. It was really cool to actually get some of Ken's time to
Here's philosophy on design.
He was
the knife industry.
He was real generous with his time with us, and just enjoyed talking to us, and was generally enjoyable to talk to him. So that was a personal highlight for me. So we'll make sure to try and link that interview probably.
Yeah, worth a watch. It's a good video.
Thomas, your eyes look kind of dead back there. You tired too?
It was a long drive.
It was a long drive home. All right, who wants to do their number 2 next? Since we shared that one. Well, since I kind of started the intro to 3, you go with your number 2.
Okay. Well, this is my last one, actually, I think. Yeah, I've got 5 knives over here.
Oh, shoot. Well, then let me do my number 2 then, because I have 2 left here. The Full-Tang KA-BAR.
Yeah, I knew you were going to pick that one.
Another fixed blade. We have an original 1217 here, the USN Mark II fighter, whatever you want to call it. Great knife. A lot of folks use this blade as a survival knife. They take out in the woods.
Not exactly what it was designed for.
Definitely not what it was designed for. It doesn't mean it can't, be capable in some of those things, but it doesn't have like the Full-Tang strength that we think of or at least when I think of like a modern survival knife. It lacks that.
If you use it in war and you make it back, it's a survival knife.
Yes. Okay. Fine. There's plenty of people that have beat the tar out of these things.
Yeah.
But there's also plenty of people who have tried to like baton this through a log and snap the blade. And that's no fault of the knife. That I would argue anyway. It's people taking it beyond what it was designed to do. That said, KA-BAR's listened. They started this with a collaboration with Estwing last year. Or earlier this year.
Oh, right.
So there was a Full-Tang Estwing version of a KA-BAR, and we kind of figured it was only a matter of time until they came out with a KA-BAR version.
Yeah.
And it's
an inline production version.
Yep, it's more or less the same size. I feel like it was a little broader, but the one they had at the show wasn't even sharpened yet.
Oh yeah, that could have been it.
It had the Full-Tang, more minimized guard at the back, so it will be more useful in the woods as a survival knife. Still has the butt plate. It's actually got the slight protrusion here at the front, like some of their synthetic versions. And I think it actually had 3D printed handles on it. They were telling me
they fooled us completely. We thought it was micarta.
We both thought it was some kind of micarta because of the way it was layered. But he said they've got a crazy expensive 3D printer. But I also would fully expect we're going to see a bunch of different handle materials on it. Micartas, maybe not woods.
One of the advantages of the Full-Tang construction is you can kind of just
bolt it right up.
Yeah, bolt whatever you want on.
Standard version is going to be the same steel, 1095 CV, and it'll be a little bit more expensive than the standard. We're at like 110 for this. So they gave us an MSRP.
We'd just be guessing.
So the MSRP on this is about 150. It's like 147 and change. Okay. They said the MSRP on the new one was going to be 200.
Okay.
So we're selling this for like 110. So that's not quite a third off of it. So somewhere between 150 and 175 probably. We don't have final pricing. This is just conjecture on my part.
Yeah. I think it's a good move. And it's going to get a lot of people out in the woods testing the KA-BARs again, giving the people what they want.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool.
This is such an iconic image of a knife that it's good to have a version of it that can kind of live up to that legend in a way.
I'd say there are plenty of iconic combat knives out there. I argue this is the most iconic combat knife of all time.
I would say that's indisputably true.
Someone in the comments is going to be typing Fairbairn Sykes right now, and I get it. However, this is...
You can dispute it.
Yeah.
You're welcome to dispute it.
Are you saying they're welcome to be wrong? No.
I did call it indisputable, but you can try.
Anyway, that aside, I thought that was an awesome surprise to see that making its
yeah. It was sort of
whatever words fail
a
me.
finally moment. It was like, finally.
Yeah, it just made me feel very happy. Yes. All right, your final, sir.
All right, my final, representing my final pick is the Demko Armiger here. This is the Tanto version. But what's different about the my pick for Blade Show is the blade, which is designed by Joe Flowers and gives the Armiger a kind of a bushcraft feel.
Yeah, it's kind of
very interesting.
A slightly Puko-esque blade, like a combat Puko in a way.
A combat Puko is kind of it. And a couple things about this project excite me. First, I think it's just a team up that I find very promising, very interesting.
And somewhat surprising. Like it feels like, oh, really? They're collaborating? Okay, cool.
Yeah, you two know each other?
Yeah.
But of course it makes sense. So what Demko did for Joe is he gave him 3 test mules with 3 different blade steels, each one marked with just 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was A, B, and C.
Yeah, so Joe does not have any idea which steel is which, or even what any of the 3 steels are to begin with. It's just, here's 3 knives, they each have a different steel. I'm not going to tell you anything more, go test them.
Yep, and then tell me which one is best. And then we'll see if it lines up with what people expect to be best, you know? Is the, like maybe 1095's in the mix. Maybe that's the one that ends up actually working out best for him. We're going to see. We're going to help him test.
We don't even know if one of them is 1095.
Yeah.
Like, we're just throwing a name out there at this point.
It brings me back to the days of Demko doing like testing videos for Cold Steel. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was always doing like lock testing and design testing. And that sort of same spirit carries into this Armiger with just, here's 3 mystery steels, go test them, let's see which one is actually best. And I find that fun.
He's already been doing some testing, but some of the testing to come is going to be happening here at the KnifeCenter campus, we'll say. So Joe is going to drag Seth back into our woods and do some more testing. I may make an appearance on there. We all get to be dummies in the woods together. That's the best part about hanging out with Joe.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see if steel really matters.
My number one is not a fixed blade.
Okay, wow.
But it is number one because of the value it's going to represent. And it's still one of my favorite American makers. I love their quality, their attention to detail, everything. The Misto from Hogue has always been a pretty expensive knife. They've done titanium versions. This is one of the collector versions with the carbon fiber. The new Water Element Misto. It's going to have the same profile with the drop point blade, magna cut steel with a stonewash finish, rich light handles, which I love that. Really nice feel on rich light. It's almost like paper micarta. It's awesome. And it's going to retail or it's going to be street price at somewhere around $170 is what they're telling us.
Okay.
So it's just a little bit more than like the G10 Decas, or maybe even right about the same, but with a different materials. You get a little bit more blade. You get a nice sleek drop point. I like a sleek drop point. Hey, that CIVIVI I picked earlier had a nice sleek drop point. It just hit all the right boxes for me. Like, I love the Deca, but with the clip point and the modified Warncliffe they had, it never had like the blade shape for me. Both of them are great. I have owned both of them, but a drop point's for me, and this is an awesome knife.
Sweet. This is one I actually didn't get to see at the show. I think while you were filming there, I was doing recon at some other booth or something. But that price point has me tempted. Like it's a great design, but yeah, it's always been a little...
It's the price point that puts what it is a little bit... makes it seem like it's a little bit better than than where it sits. Yeah.
This version of the knife is a little bit more of like a special occasion knife, a special event knife, a special gift knife maybe. It's even got like glow-in-the-dark tritium in the crossbar.
Does it still? I don't know if they maintained that anymore.
This version,
This
I
one,
think,
oh
does.
yeah, this one does, yeah. And
So-
they were talking about that being maybe phased out, but I didn't know if that had happened yet. Anyway, yeah.
Well, they definitely did do versions with that.
Yeah.
And it felt like a special project kind of thing. So I'm glad to see them taking like this elevated design, elegant design even, and bringing it down to a price point that makes it kind of a sweet EDC user.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love where it's going to be price-wise. Like compared to other American-made stuff in the market, it's going to be really compelling.
Agreed.
Well, that's each of our 5 picks. Before we get to the DCA knives, we'll make sure to link to our full playlist of Blade Show coverage if you want to see more stuff. We got 40 videos this year,
Yeah.
which is more than we've ever gotten. A lot of them are shorts. We kind of trimmed down the amount
of quick bites.
long-form stuff we did, but check it out. Tell us what you think and tell us what your favorite things from the show were in the comments. Now for my real favorite thing.
All right,
Well,
bring them out,
so
bring them out.
There were there were some DCA knife stuff showing up, of course, and actually all 3 of the things we have to talk about are because of one guy, and that is Igor Bortolussi. He is the gentleman who roped me into designing the Pocket Tango for MKM. He has since started his new brand, and all 3 of these knives, which is straight line EDC, all 3 of these knives are connected to my relationship with Igor. But we'll start with the new knife that is available now. It was launched on day 1 of Blade Show, and that is the straight line EDC Digger. If you're wondering about the name, it's sort of a combination of mine and Igor's names, like David and Igor, Igor Digger. Like that's how we got to it. And this is my smart alecky thing. I threw it out there as a joke. Igor liked it. He said, "Nope, that's it." I'm like, "Oh, I guess that's it." But it's good. Like, so we've got a space style blade going on here, and it kind of,
Or is it?
and it kind of has, space kind of seems shovelly sometimes. So Digger actually works.
I can see it. Be a good spreader too.
Yeah, for
Digging
sure.
out some cream cheese.
You're reaching a little bit for that one, but I'll allow it. So when Igor started his new company and he had a few designs in the works already, he said, "I would love to collaborate with you again." And I was like, "Absolutely." I'm very grateful for him getting the door open for me for production collaborations, and yeah, it seemed like a perfect thing to do, of course. And this one, unlike the Pocket Tango, this knife here is a true collaboration between Igor and myself.
Basically 50-50.
Yeah, so the way it wound up being is I had the blade with a different handle. Igor drew up a different handle. I made a little tweak. He made a little tweak, and fused them together. And I think they came out super, super well. I don't know. I was I threw to you without anything.
Well, I was going to agree with you, so I will.
Hey, that's one of my turns of phrase.
You say it enough around me, all I can do is start to repeat it.
It turned out so nice, man. The idea here was actually to go with a slightly more minimal handle. So this is only a 3-finger grip in order to give a little bit more blade. Let me hold the Pocket Tango up by way of comparison. It actually came out a little less dramatic than it seems on paper, but overall length a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, and just focusing on that blade. 4th finger, you still got the lanyard fob for security and different grips. But the micarta or G10 handles, we got green, blue, and natural micarta, black G10. Turned out nice. It's just thick enough where you have a super solid grip. Great whittler. Used it already as a steak knife at dinner. We went to a Korean barbecue place that didn't give us knives at any stripe. So we used this. It was good.
Nice.
And Igor's pocket sheath system evolved. He's the one who first started doing this with MKM, and this version has a 2-position pocket.
That's pretty cool too.
So you can carry it deeper in your pocket if you wish. If you take that lanyard fob off especially, it'll be even more subtle.
Yeah, it's practically flush. Yeah, I really like the collaborative aspect of this. I think like Igor's handle, it kind of pushes out of your design comfort zone in a way, in that it is so compact It's starting to become a 3-finger knife. Maybe not appropriate for the extra large hands. Although with this lanyard, I think it's appropriate for everybody.
It works, man. Like it still feels super solid to
But
me,
you
though.
know, when you design things, just speaking as an observer, you have a concern for making the ergonomics work for everyone and not pushing too small or too large to alienate anybody who might, you know, want to put their hands around it. But Igor doesn't quite think about things the same way, and I think, you know, his influence on the handle was a great match for your influence on the blade, taking a traditional silhouette, but sort of pushing and pulling it a little bit to give it its own flair in a really fun way. And the combination is really cool that way. I think you get something different than just an Igor design or just a DCA design. It's something in the combination.
Well, thank you.
And it genuinely does work really well. The blade shape is so cool. I love it's a trailing spine, but not a trailing point because you've gone and clipped it.
Well, it's interesting you say, like, you know, Igor's influence or whatnot. The brand is Straight Line EDC, and I curve all of my designs. So this was me genuinely trying to design a straight line knife, but I couldn't help but introduce a little bit of curve.
Yeah, your
to
hand
the
sort of pulled
spine
away
there.
from you at the last minute there.
But I agree.
You got one straight line right there.
Yeah, here too. But yeah, I am really pleased with the way the blade came out. I feel like it definitely has some standout character for this style of blade. I didn't invent the spay, of course, or whatever you want to call it, but I really enjoy the way it turned out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's going to be a good pocket fixed blade because of its compact proportions.
Yeah, it sticks out less than the Pocket Tango does, even in the up position as opposed to the deep carry position. And Kydex sheaths also available separate. We haven't talked about the price.
Oh, right.
$99.
Kind of another feature.
$99. So we wanted to hit something at a lower price point than previous fixed blades we've done together and previous fixed blades in their lineup. So Sandvik 14C28N, Best Tech is the OEM on the blade, and the sheaths or the leather sheath at least is still made in Italy. So you get the nice, quality there, and that costs a little bit of money too. So that's part of why we didn't come in lower than that $99. But
it's a real good sheath. You're going to want a nice sheath if you're actually going to live with it every day.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can get Kydex separately.
$20 for Kydex. You just need it does not come with a belt or pocket attachment. That's all.
But
sorry, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, there's definitely people out there who prefer Kydex, even though it's loud and hard and not soft like this lovely leather.
Better for neck carry, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Might as well talk about the Pocket Tango again real quick. This is not the new blade shape, but new blade shape appeared of the Pocket Tango, new clip point
really
version.
Cool clip point.
Which I'd actually drawn up several different blades when we got this going. I was hoping we might be able to, get some more versions out there, and here we go. This one was actually a combination of a Tonto. I had done a clip point and a Tonto, and we kind of combined the two to create the new version of the clip point that will be available within the next few months. Is the plan in all the 4 standard handle configurations at this point. Magna Cut steel is going to be the same price, of course, or should be the same price, I should say.
It's a real good looking blade shape.
Yeah, real happy. So we got a little bit of footage. I took some photos. We'll make sure we're showing you something here that you can actually look at as we go. Super excited about that. This was one of the best selling new knives last year for KnifeCenter. Number 2, in fact. It lost the Kershaw Bel Air, and it was a rightful win on the Bel Air's part. But you guys seem to have responded really well to it, for which I'm eternally grateful. So it felt like time to give it a freshen up here, give something a little more.
Try some new shapes for the clip point people.
And then last but not least, my second folder to be unveiled, my first flipper to be unveiled. This is the Viper Wing.
Oh, yeah.
I mentioned Igor being connected to all of these. When Igor was with MKM, he did a lot of work for Viper as well. Viper was part of the MKM family, and he had a close relationship with them. And I've always enjoyed our interactions with Viper at the shows. Valentina especially has been an excellent host to us at all of the shows. So there was an opportunity to do something with them, and I thought, that sounds great. And this is it. This is actually the reverse of Kizer, who's taking their folders and turning them into fixed blades.
Ah, I see.
This started as a fixed blade and is now a folder. This is sort of a curvier version of my Nordsmith lapwing design, now in flipper form.
Yeah. Dubbed just the wing, no
Yeah.
more lap.
So originally I wanted to call it the wing back, and that's where this decorative element comes in.
Let me show that off.
And they wanted to shorten it to the wing, and I said, okay, that's fine. But the wing back was the inspiration for this, and this piece here, this is olive wood on the prototype. These are just prototypes, is a single piece. So you have an integral back strap, essentially. That's the wing back, or the Viper wing in this case.
It's really nice. Gives it an integral kind of look, even though, of course, it's a separate piece that just connects the two sides. It's not actually integral to them.
Yeah.
But
And I don't claim to have invented this either, just before anyone gets at me in the comments. I know things like this have been done before as well. It just seemed appropriate for the lap wing evolution to call it the wing back and do something like this.
yeah. Yeah, it's a good callback. I mean, the fixed blade wouldn't have a void back there.
Right.
So,
right.
and it's comfortable, nice to brace on.
Yep.
Although this is, I wouldn't call it a hard use knife like I would.
No,
your
not
fixed blade.
necessarily. You know,
It's got a lot of comfort, but the blade is thin and
thin,
optimized for slicing.
but it is MagnaCut, so you've got toughness there. But I pushed Viper to go thinner than they typically do on their folders. I wanted to make sure this maintained sliceability, because the lapwing is also a thin-bladed fixed blade. It's not a super chunky fixed blade. It's 3/32 and with a convex grind. So it maintains some thinness.
Nice.
Because that was always like the bird and trout / paring knife companion to my canteen knife design.
Ah, okay.
So had to keep it thin. And Viper, usually their stuff tends to go a little bit thicker most of the time. And I was like, no, come on. Let's I want it like this. And they said, okay. No
It's
problem.
really nice. It keeps the overall profile pretty thin too, so even though the handles have a nice contour,
Yeah.
the fact that they don't need to accommodate a thick blade in between them and they can just kind of wrap around this lovely little slicer, I think it makes it an elegant folder too.
I should have brought the lapwing in to show it next to it. It's a mistake on my part.
Oh yeah, we should do a side-by-side post in the future. That'd be fun.
We could do that, yeah. Prototypes, there's some tweaks happening. There is going to be a lanyard attachment point on it, even though you don't see that here. Tail-mounted pocket clip, MagnaCut steel, like I said, it's about 3.3 inches. So for folks who are going, why all the 3-inch knives? I've seen the comments. I wish things were a little bit bigger. Well, it's not dramatically bigger, but something a little bigger, at least here. The titanium version is not going to have the back strap, but we're going to launch, I think, with this as well as a Boker back strap and a carbon fiber back strap. And I'm calling it back strap. I don't know if they have a better true name for it, but that's what I've been calling it.
They probably use a different word in Italian.
Oh, almost guaranteed.
They got a different word for everything over there.
I'm also maintaining, I would like, I never say never with future projects, of course, but I would like my folders to have a nod towards ambidextrous use, and you all know I'm a big fan of finger-safe closing action. So the button lock works here quite nicely for righties or lefties. And in response to another comment I saw saying, I thought, David, you were down on button locks these days, kind of in response to a video we did recently. I would reply to that by saying, I'm not down on button locks. I just feel like they are a lock more suited to enthusiasts or more experienced knife users as opposed to knife beginners or knife newbies. Not down on button locks at all, just...
Yeah, place for everything
Yeah.
in its place. The action on this, I wanted to call that out. It's really exceptional.
Yeah.
The detent is so crisp, so you get an effortless deployment basically every time.
Yeah.
You can hear it crack open. I mean,
Yeah.
it flies.
And I already knew Viper could do a button lock well, or I would have done a different mechanism for it.
Yeah.
But I was like, this design is going to really lend itself well to a button lock, and let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it came out extremely beautiful.
So like I said, these are prototypes, final pricing. I think we talked about it there. It's going to be, I forget what it was now, somewhere above $250 to start, maybe closer to $275. But they're not out yet. In fact, I don't have a timeline on them just yet. We're kind of nailing down the final tweaks on it right now before it goes into full production. But super happy. I didn't even, this is funny, I didn't even know they were going to have it at the show. Huh. So I showed up and there it was. I was like, well, I guess we're making content.
Yeah, because we're talking about it, because you are.
I think I covered everything about them. The digger was it was a fun project, and for all these to be connected to Igor is especially poignant at Blade Show, because I've said this probably on the channel before, that the coolest thing about Blade Show is not the knives, it's the personal connections, it's the people. And these 3 knives exemplify one of those excellent and valued personal connections I have made by coming to Blade Shows.
Yeah. Igor's a great guy. Love seeing him. Shout out Igor if you're watching this.
You know he is. Anyway, that's it. Digger is available now. Links will be in the description. The Pocket Tango is available now, with the new blade shape to be available soon.
In the future.
Within a few months. I don't even have one yet because they only had 4 unheat-treated prototypes at the show. The protos they had at the show hadn't even been heat-treated because they ran out of time to get it there before the show started. And then the Viper at some point in the future as well.
Sweet.
Hope you like them. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And yeah, I think that's all we got.
Yeah, lots of teasers of new knives coming, which these represent.
Indeed. If you want to, of course, keep your eye out for when these things do hit. Every Thursday, New Knives of the Week episodes post. We'll probably talk about the Digger again a little bit there, because I know there's some people that just watch those videos. If you're planning on watching that video later, please excuse me in advance for mentioning the knife again, because we bought a good chunk of them, and we want to make sure there's enough for people and be able to show people that they're here. I'm rambling, aren't I?
Plus, there's more variants to show off.
Yeah. All right. Enough of me rambling. That's all we've got for now. Links in the description for what we can link to. That will be down. Now, this video is falling apart now because I'm losing all of my words. Let me know what you thought of these knives down in the comments, whether they're my knives or the other knives we showed. Let me know your favorite Blade Show picks down in the comments. And to get your hands on what you can get your hands on, check out the links in the description. Nice. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center.
I'm Seth V. Thomas
fell asleep.
Back here.
We'll see you next time.